Hello and welcome to the first monthly roundup of PS Plus this year. The year is 2020 and the month is January, and the games are Uncharted, Nathan Drake Collection, and Goat Simulator. So we're going to start with Uncharted, the Nathan Drake Collection. This game is developed by Naughty Dog. It was released in 2015, but it is remastered, so it's 3 games, and it's Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, and Drake's Deception, which is the 3 Uncharted games. And they were all released in 2007, 2009, and 2011. And then the remaster of them all was released in 2015. And this is the remaster of them all. These games were originally on PS3. And then obviously this remaster, I think it maybe get on PS3 as well. But this version's for PS4. I already own this. I've already played the first one. But that's all I've played. I played it, actually, it was the second Let's Play that I did on this channel, like ever. So I put a link to the first episode in the playlist for this month. I have to apologise for the quality of it because it was back when I used to just record everything on my PlayStation. So I would have a headset with a mic on and then record the gameplay, you know, the feature on your PlayStation where you can record the last 15 minutes, or now it's half an hour. So I would, every 15 minutes, sometimes every few minutes, just save the last 10 minutes of video or whatever. And also it would record the party chat. So I had a party with myself and then I would just record it all on there and then edit it on SharePlay and then upload it onto my computer. So basically the quality is not great. And it was the second, I'm not saying I'm good now, but it was my second attempt of a game, so I remember the first episode was a bit of a shambles because something went wrong with my settings on my controller. So in the menu, you can choose to invert your sticks, and I'd done that by accident and I didn't know, so I was running around and trying to aim and nothing was going the direction I was trying, and I was like, the controls for this game are so weird. And then I realised that when I'd been looking in the menu, I'd accidentally flipped everything. So everything was inverted. Anyway, onto the game itself. It's PlayStation exclusive, and it's pretty neat to be getting 3 games at once. I don't wish that I hadn't bought them because it was ages ago that I did play the first one. But I do kind of wish that it was a game that I didn't have, but obviously everyone thinks that, don't they? I imagine it'll be a good shout for a lot of people who maybe played it back in the day when it came out on PS3 and never took the plunge to upgrade to the remastered version, and they don't own it on PS4 and haven't played it for a long time. I imagine they'll get a lot of enjoyment out of it for sure. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't think of it as my prediction, because I was so obsessed that that it should be God of War. Whereas Uncharted, particularly the Nathan Drake Collection, rather than any other, makes so much sense. It's multiple games. It's exclusive, which, in my year roundup, I kind of realised at the back end of last year, they gave away 5 PS4 exclusives. And then it just seems like they're ramping up the exclusives, and I would imagine more in the next few months as well. In the run-up to PS5, is my opinion. The game itself, okay, so it's an action-adventure game. There is fighting, gunfights, and platforming as well. It is all third person, and we play as Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake is Uncharted and Nathan Drake, in my opinion, is the male goofy version of Lara Croft. So they go around, they're hunting for treasure, etc., etc., and get into situations. And he's a bit is goofy the right word? He's a bit clumsy, I would say. Which, in my opinion, works better, to be fair. I really like that about him. It's gives him good character. And in Drake's Fortune, which is the first game, which is where you should start, really, you could, I've read that you could kind of skip it, but and that it's kind of the worst of the three. And that the second one is like meant to be really good, like the best, like potentially the best of them all. So you could skip it, but I don't think you should, just because it gives you the whole, you know, if you go straight in the second one, you've missed the whole story, which seems a shame. So it's very, to me, when I was playing it, it felt very typical video game, what you would expect a video game to be. So it was very, I don't know if procedural is the right word. It was like, so there was then obviously a cutscene, action. And when it's action, it's action. It's like waves of enemies, just killing thousands of people. Then platforming, action, platforming, puzzle, platforming, action. Like, it's always separated into these categories. And it's very, the action itself is very obvious what's going to happen because it's waves after waves after waves. Obviously, it's stepped up the more you went along, as a lot of games do. So it just started off with goons with handguns or whatever, and then they get better weapons. They start getting, you know, rifles, and then they start getting grenades, and then they start getting sniper rifles. So obviously it escalates as you go along, and equally you can then take their weapons and you can have the better weapons. So it's kind of standard, really, is what I would say. There are also other sections where they try to do something a bit different, and that I would say goes towards the adventure side of it, like maybe being in a car or the dreaded jet ski. Fuck that jet ski. So they do try and vary it up a bit, but it all boils down to the same stuff, in my opinion. There are collectibles to collect as well if you have a little bit of a look around, but I wouldn't say that exploring is the most rewarding, at least not in the first one. So what I didn't know about these games is, yes, it's action adventure. People will say I'm a wimp for this, but the first game did delve a little bit into horror. I feel like I would argue with anyone that denied it, because even if it's not horror to you, if it's someone that's a bit like borderline doesn't want to play anything that's horror, be aware, in my opinion, that it gets a bit scary near the end. I managed it, but I didn't enjoy it, and I freaked out a little bit. You know, there was a lot of dark and other scary stuff, that there was some screams. Maybe they were unnecessary screams, but I just think it's a fair warning, because of everything I've ever read about Uncharted and about how it's very highly recommended as a PlayStation game. If people have never been on the console before, try Uncharted. It's really good, but I've never ever didn't have any inclination at all that there would be any scary parts. So that's just something to be aware of if you're a bit like me and you get a bit uncomfortable around scary bits. I'm really excited to play the second one, which is Among Thieves. It's very, I would say, widely considered the best one, which is quite unusual, I would say, for a series that's got 4 or 5 games in it, and especially some of them are quite recent. For people to then still say that the second one is the best, I'm really looking forward to actually playing it and seeing what it's about and seeing why it's the best. So I will actually be playing that once I've finished my next series. As far as my opinions go about the game, I didn't enjoy it that much, to be honest. Because they often get well recommended for people that are asking for story-based games, but the story for me wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. Maybe it's fair enough because it's like a 2007 game. I think the premise is that you've got a lead that you need to follow on this treasure that's going to be worth a lot of money. And then obviously you're not going to be the only one that knows about this, and that's kind of how it goes, really. There's not a lot more to it. There is a bit more to it than that. It does, but there's not a lot more non-spoilery stuff to it. That's the idea of it, which I suppose is how a lot of great stories might start as well. I'm sure that's probably how the rest of the games start too. So as long as you don't go into it expecting like twists and turns at every corner, it's not like that. It can be exciting at times, I guess, but it wasn't like a masterpiece. I think that's where I'll leave it with that one, except I'm also saying once again, fuck that jet ski. Now the next game was Goat Simulator. It was developed by Coffee Stain Studios and it's taken up 3.12 gigabytes. It's a sandbox game where you play as a goat and you can lick things and you can ragdoll, and it's very like play around with the physics type thing. You can jump, you can wall run. It's all just a bit silly, and don't get me wrong, I like silly sometimes, but I just don't really see the point in this game. I already owned it, don't know why. I think I remember it was about £2 in the sale or something, and I was like, I've heard about this, I've heard it's hilarious, I'm gonna try it. So like I got it, I played on it for a while, I did a few trophies and a few objectives and stuff, and then like just never ever had an urge to play it ever again. I don't want any of the DLCs, I don't want to, there's not a lot to it really. It's just, once you've kind of got over the first, laughing at the ragdollness and the licking things and stuff, like, it's not that fun, in my opinion, obviously. I just think the whole thing is a bit of a meme, and that's why it became popular in the first place. And I just don't have a lot to say about it because there's not a lot to it. So some of the things you can do, for example, if you didn't watch the video, is like you can jump on trampolines and do tricks and stuff. You can go to the anti-gravity center and fly around. There are little things that lead on to other things, but to me it's not really something that you even discover. So everything you do can earn points, and then obviously the worse it is, the more points you get, or the more bigger it is, the more points you get. So like exploding on something is going to get you more points than headbutting something. So I guess the aim of the game is just to get as many points as you can, and that is going to be by causing chaos. There are people in this world, but they also ragdoll. They stand there, they dance, they do whatever they're doing. They'll say the odd comment to you, and then you can do whatever you want to them, and it doesn't really have any consequences or anything like that. Just drag them around, you can headbutt them, knock them over, make them get hit by a car, do anything you want, and I just don't really know why. There's other goats. You can go at them. And they'll do it back to you. If you touch them, they fall over and ragdoll. You're quite destructive, like most things you touch break. And there is a challenge about jumping on all of the trampolines or something. There is something going on in the mountains, which I couldn't find in my video, but I've done it before, where like you got to bring sacrifices up to the mountains or something like that. But it's all just a bit, it's not obvious what you need to do, and it's not fun trying to figure out what you need to do. So everything that I found out, I think, was basically looking on the internet and like Googling how to get the trophies and stuff like that, because I needed some direction, and there is no direction. Well, there is a list of objectives, but it's objectives like either they're very vague or they're very specific, like wall run a certain distance or jump a certain height and stuff like that. So there's just not an awful lot to it, and personally I really don't think this is a very good PS Plus game. I think it would have been an alright PS Plus game if we were getting more than 2 games, but to take up one of the slots with this game, I suppose it's okay for people that have never tried it, but they're all going to be like, eh. Well, not everyone, but most people are just going to be like, it's just not the most fun, in my opinion. I bet there's people that have a right laugh with it. I don't want to be like an absolute downer, because I love funny, I love silly, I love daft, But this just wasn't funny silly, it was just silly. It was just boring silly, kind of. Boring after an hour. So that was the 2 games of the month. Considering it's the first month of the year, I think it's an alright lineup. I think the Uncharted was a very good choice, personally. I do understand, once again, kind of like with The Last of Us, that a lot of people are disappointed because they already own it. However, I feel happy for the people that don't own it. Or, like I said before, the people that have played it before but never got the remastered version. I think they're going to enjoy going back to it. And it's a bit different from The Last of Us because that was just 1 game, whereas this is like 3 games. I don't know how much... That doesn't make any difference if you don't like the game. I get that. But to be fair, they're both from the same developer, so it's not that different. I guess that's why I'm comparing it a lot to The Last of Us. I think it's great to be getting the 3, personally, because if I hadn't bought them, I would have been really happy to have got them. And I think it's a good way of getting people who have just got the PS4 for the first time at Christmas to sign up for the service, because it's on everyone's list, really, isn't it? Like, everyone that has got a PlayStation that's new to it, that has asked online, they're going to have been told to play Uncharted. And they've just made it available right there for them. The only thing is, again, you can get it pretty cheap. So even I got the email through. It's not like last year when they said we were getting £80 of games or something when we got Conan and whatever the other game was. This actually said that we're getting £23 worth of games, which I appreciate their honesty. And then at the same time, I don't even know if this is £23 worth of games. Like I say, Goat Simulator, you can get for about £2 or something. Uncharted series, I don't imagine that I paid more than £20 to get it. I probably paid about 15 or something like that. So, value-wise, probably it's not a good month, really, at all. But game-wise, I'm not mad about, well, Goat Simulator, yeah, I think it's a waste. And I wasn't mad when I heard about it until I've just tried it again. And then actually I'm like, yeah, that is such a waste. But Uncharted, it's kind of, I feel like it's giving me the spur on that I needed to want to play the next one. And the fact that I've just finished Spider-Man, by the way. I've been playing since 2018 and I finally finished Spider-Man. I'm quite excited to be free to move on to something else. Even though I've enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but I'm playing one other game, Virtue's Last Reward. Then I'm moving on to Uncharted 2. And I'm quite excited for the experience. But I don't even need to claim either of these games on PS Plus because I've already got them. So I'm actually ahead for the first time in my life. I'm ahead of the month. I don't have an awful lot more to say except I was very, very overwhelmed at how many views my Roundup of the Year video got. I was really buzzing about it. It's like on 1,000 and a bit at the minute, which is like insane. I've never had a video that's like on anything I've ever done on YouTube that's had that many views. So like I really appreciate that. Like hello to my new subscribers if anybody's watching, because like I've never had this many subscribers. I've been having this channel since 2.5 years ago, I think, and I'd only built up to 23 subscribers, and even then like 3 of them are me. So now I've got like 40 odd, I'm getting on towards 50, and that's like super exciting for me. So thank you for anyone that's subscribed. I hope that somebody might be enjoying what I do, and if you do enjoy it, like please don't hesitate to subscribe and to follow me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, because I'm on all of them as well. And then strike up a conversation, because I enjoy that. It's fun, because I like to know what other people think, because obviously I don't really have anyone to talk to about games. That's one of the reasons I like to do this, is because I like to have a chat. So come at me with what you think, and I'll look forward to hearing from anyone, and I'll look forward to seeing what the games are next month as well. And in the meantime, look out for Spider-Man, because it's coming back and it's done. Woohoo! And I'll catch ya in February. Oh, no, I need to do... Wait. Predictions. Ooh. Firewatch. Don't know why. I just want it. And I haven't really seen it mentioned anywhere. So I'm going to go Firewatch. And Bioshock collection. I think they might give another collection. That's my two. Bioshock and Firewatch. Well, Bioshock collection and Firewatch. Okay, that's my predictions. That was like the quickest I've ever decided anything ever in my life. Right, I'm off. See you in February. And I hope you had a good New Year and a great Christmas and or whatever it is you celebrate. And keep the positivity going for 2020 because anything you want, you can get it. You just have to work for it, okay? So I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.